Good morning, guys. We are going to read the next couple of chapters in Wildfire. Chapter 8, The Promise He Made Me. The thing is covered by a dust sheet, but I can sort of make out the shape. A vehicle. Could be an off-road four-wheeler, but I don't think so. Too wide. Only one way to find out. I take a corner off the dust sheet and pull it away. Whoa, I say, amazed. No way. The thing under the sheet is a Jeep, an old Jeep, like from the wars in the last century. Dull green in color and as stocky as a bulldog, with thick tires and old leather seats and no doors, and a flat, tilt-down windshield. There's a shovel and an axe attached to the passenger side, and a couple of 5-gallon fuel cans strapped to the back bumper. No ignition or key that I can see, just a simple lever marked on-off and a small compass mounted to the dash. You may be wondering, what's the big deal about finding an old Jeep instead of, say, a nice new four-wheeler? Because of my dad, that's why. His favorite vehicle of all time was an army Jeep. His grandfather drove one in World War II. In one story, the old man had gotten stuck behind enemy lines in the Battle of the Bulge, but he escaped because of his Jeep, rescuing 4 wounded soldiers along the way. I watched a lot of World War II movies with Dad, who wanted to pass along our family history. Plus, it was fun watching movies with him because he knew so much about it all. Once I asked him if he'd get me a Jeep when I turned 16. That made him laugh. You're only 8 years old, he said. That makes me halfway there. He laughed even harder. Promise, swear on your heart, promise. Tell you what, Scamp, he said. I promise that someday we'll buy an old Jeep and fix it up, you and me. When? When we can afford it, and that's the end of this conversation. But it wasn't the end, not by a long shot. Whenever I saw an old army-style Jeep on the road or in the yard, we'd talk about how someday we'd get one of our own. I wish you could see this, Dad. You'd already have the hood up. What I find in the old Jeep's little glove compartment makes it even better. There's a neatly folded up map that looks well used. A small gray plastic folder contains a vehicle registration in the name of Aldrich Brown and a faded black and white photo of a tall, lean man in an army uniform standing next to a Jeep. Maybe he owns the lumber camp property or has permission to store his vehicle here. Maybe he's the one who keeps the cabin stocked with provisions. Whatever, he has a big grin on his face. I turn the photo over, and there in neat handwriting are the words, U.S. Army 40th Infantry, Korea, 1952. Cool. I'm so focused on the Jeep and on my memories of my dad that at first I don't notice the smell. The terrible smell, the awful, terrifying smell. Then it hits me, and I run out of the shed and look at the sky, which is suddenly boiling dark clouds and flashing orange along the tree line. The fire is suddenly close and getting closer. The wind has shifted and it carries the heat and the stink of the fire. My heart sinks. The wildfire is back with a vengeance, driving the hot, sparky wind, and there's no time to make a plan. I thought the worst was over, but obviously not. All I can do is get moving as quickly as possible and try to keep ahead of the flames and behind the boiling smoke. Smoke that's already burning my throat. Water. I need to get water. Best I can do is grab a few jugs for the road. Go, make it fast. Don't mess it up like you did before. Like you did going back for that stupid phone. I'm sprinting for the little cabin when animals suddenly explode from the surrounding forest. Birds are first, hundreds of them streaking across the clearing. Big black crows, tiny bright songbirds, and eerie-looking owls, silent but for the swoop of their wings. I raise my arms to cover my head, afraid they'll peck my eyes out. Ooh, scary. But birds avoid me and rush up into the smoke-darkening sky. Next come squirrels, tails flattened as they skitter through the underbrush, chittering with fear. And then groundhogs waddling along, and raccoon families screeching, and other close-to-the-ground creatures running so fast they're blurred. Weasels, maybe. Last is a young deer with a track of mossy antlers. He enters the clearing in one mighty leap, freezing for a split second, as if posing for an amazing nature picture, and then vanishes into a stand of pines on the opposite side of the camp. The message couldn't be clearer. Run. If you want to live, run. I kick open the cabin door and grab crates and cans and jugs of water, and I race back to the shed, fear choking my throat, because I can hear the fire now, roaring close behind the thick wall of smoke. The crackle of burning branches, the whoosh of leaves igniting into flames. It can only mean one thing. Fire is eating the forest. Fire is coming so fast I can't possibly outrun it, not without help, not without the Jeep. Doesn't matter that I don't know how to drive. It's my only chance. Chapter 9, Between the Fire and Me. I toss the crates into the back of the Jeep and slip behind the wheel, hand shaking, trying to remember what little I know about driving a standard transmission. I know the clutch is important. That's how you shift gears. But which one is the clutch pedal and which one is the brake? Take a guess. I press down on the left pedal. It goes all the way to the floor. Okay, that must be the clutch. I turn the lever on the dash to on. Nothing. Total silence. I jiggle the lever. Still nothing. Forget the Jeep. Run for your life. No, wait. Starter pedal? Yes, remember? Dad said really old Jeeps had a starter pedal, something you had to press down with your foot to make the engine turn over. Find it, boy. Find it or die. I look down and spot a small, knobby rubber pedal. I press on it with my foot, and the most amazing thing happens. The engine turns over and catches. Nothing ever sounded so good as that engine purring. Like it woke up from a happy, deep sleep and is ready to get to work. That running engine gives me hope, but the smoke is getting thicker, filling the shed, and my eyes sting. What do I do next? How do I make it go? My brain screams, just do something, you idiot! Put this beast in gear and get moving. Yes, but how? There are 2 stick shifts, one big and one small. One for regular and one for 4-wheel drive? The bigger stick must be for regular transmission, right? But how do I get it into first gear? Then I see it, a diagram on the dashboard. First gear is to the left and down. Quick, do it or get burned to a crisp. I grab the stick, pull it left and down. It clicks into place. Okay, now put your right foot on the gas pedal and lift the clutch pedal with your left. Careful, don't stall the engine. My left foot accidentally slips off the clutch pedal and wham! There's an awful grounding noise as the Jeep lurches into gear. Suddenly we're out of the shed, me and the Jeep, bouncing through the clearing, knocking down bushes and skinny saplings with fire raging behind us. I'm fighting to get control. The steering wheel bucks in my sweaty hands like the thing is alive. I manage to grab hard enough so it stops slipping through my fingers. I'm in control, more or less. I'm steering for the path, steering for my life, because the fire behind me is louder than the engine in front of me. Drive, boy, drive! Go, go, go! I know this sounds crazy, but as me and that old Jeep tear through the clearing, I'm laughing out loud. The vehicle's bucking like a horse, fighting to go wild, and I'm howling in relief, hanging onto the steering wheel like my life depends on it, because guess what? It does. I sneak a look behind just in time to see the lumber camp explode into fire. The sheds are burning, dripping with flames. The birches are going up like skinny white candles, spreading from tree to tree. There are hot threads of red and orange glowing behind the smoke. It would look beautiful if it wasn't so awful. When I get to the old logging road, I have to choose which way to go, right or left. Instinct tells me I need to head into the wind, so I steer left. The Jeep finds the ruts and the steering wheel stops fighting me so much, like it knows the way. Maybe it does. No, that's crazy. It's just a machine. Nuts and bolts and steel. It feels alive because the trail is so bumpy and because my heart is beating hard enough for 2. I'm super frightened and super excited at the same time. The fire scares me half to death, but driving the Jeep is the most fun I've ever had. The further we get down the trail, the less smoke in the air, and I'm feeling more confident. I'd like to run around and check what's happening behind me. Is the fire catching up? But I don't dare take my eyes off the old logging trail. What would Dad say? Keep the wheels in the ruts. Don't stop. Because what if you can't get into gear again? That would be fatal. Gotta keep moving. Yes, Dad, yes. Put as much distance as possible between the fire and me. I'm pedal to the metal in first gear. I could try for second gear and get more speed, but what if it stalls? And I'm bouncing so hard I'm not sure I could handle going faster. Every now and then we hit a root or a rock that makes the steering wheel shudder and the Jeep groans like it feels pain. I decide not to change anything. Just stick with it for now. Try not to worry about what's happening behind me. My mission is to keep it on the path. Dad was always saying, learn as you go, right? So now's my chance. Stay focused, pay attention, and let the vehicle eat up the yards. Not sure how long it lasts, but the first part of the journey, half an hour, maybe 7 miles down the trail, I'm drenched in sweat. But we're doing great, the Jeep and me. And we might have got clear of the fire for good if it wasn't for what happened next. Dun dun dun.